Tyres made interesting if we can. A wet race classic at Suzuka with a teenage Indonesian showing maturity beyond his years. And Philippines' TJ Alberto tells us about his season without the ARRC. But it's a rather glum opening to this week's Asian Motorsports Hour. It was confirmed last week that the Asian Road Racing Championship 2021 season has been cancelled due to logistical matters caused by the COVID-19 restrictions in Asia being just too much to overcome. But expect a 2022 calendar imminently. But there was MotoGP racing in the Emilia-Romagna Motorcycle Grand Prix at Misano, Italy. A 15th place and a point for Honda's Japanese racer Takaki Nakagami means that he's now secured points in 12 of his 16 MotoGP races this season. In Moto2, Ayagura secured 9th position at the same venue for Idemitsu Team Honda to take his season's tally to 120 points and 8th in the championship with 2 rounds to go. Mixed results for the 5 Japanese riders in the Moto3 championship. 8th place for Ayumu Sasaki and 11th for Ryusei Yamamaka, both on KTMs. The 3 other Japanese all out of the points. So, the subject is Dunlop Tyres. The objective, design a tyre that has to cope with the most extreme weathers, from almost typhoon-like driving rivers of rain to searing hot conditions that can reach 50 degrees at trackside, sometimes on the same day. It's a serious, difficult subject which, if manufacturers get it wrong, can have really negative consequences. Our objective, to try to make it a fun, light subject. To help us, we spoke with Dunlop Motorsports' Kentaro Kobayashi. They're the manufacturers and suppliers for the Asian Road Racing Championships since day one.
2つ目は我々の話になるんですけれども、タイヤサービスを、初めて、供給した年っていうのが、2014年になります。で、この年っていうのは初めてのことばかりで、非常に記憶に残っています。
Despite those nerves, Dunlop have long been a valued partner of the ARRC. And the longer my conversation with Kobayashi went on, the more you understood the value that he and Dunlop put on the relationship with the ARRC.
これはチャンピオンシップが、スタートした最初から、継続して、タイヤを供給、しているっていうところが、我々の、強みであり、この、20年以上の、信頼関係っていうのが、今もなお、続いて、かつ、もっといろんな活動を広げようと協力して、続けているからだと思っています。
The production unit for Dunlop in Japan is a complex and highly engineered unit, but truly, honestly, fascinating. So, here's our quick 5 video with funked up music on how Dunlop make rubber into a form that can win or lose races. So, how do you make a racing tyre? Here's our answer in a rhyme. Choose raw ingredients, make the compound, and you mix them going round and round. Then that's split to 3 different tabs: extruder, stores, sidewall and slab. The beading holds the tyre to the trim, then the casing holds the compound within. Then what's called the Fisher cutter to make some all-important strips, essential in the finished tyre to add strength and resistance. The next key part is called the build. Assemble components piece by piece. There's the mold, the heat, and then the cure. Just one more function, then we're done. inspection time. Is the balance right? An x-ray will show if the strips are tight. Uniformity is important. Now barcode. The last thing now, the Dunlop stamp.
はい、我々の、中期的な、目標としては、各国に、国際サーキットっていうのが建設されて、よりアジアロードレーシングチャンピオンシップが盛り上がる、かつ、各国の、それぞれの選手権がもっと盛り上がることによって、より多くのライダーが、アジアロードレースを目標として練習し、その結果、それぞれの国がよりレベルアップを果たすというところを目標としています。
So the future when we get back racing is one of expanding opportunities for Dunlop in a sport that Kobayashi has clearly loved being involved with.
I have so many memories. 私のいろんな思い出っていうのはあるんですけれども、その中で、一番大きい、出来事としては、SS600 クラスで、藤原克明さんがチャンピオンを獲得したことです。
Final question for Kentaro. Is he a fan of wet races or dry?
Usually, so I hope the dry race.
We tried to make it fun, but tyres and safety, as Dunlop illustrate, it's a serious business. Now your opportunity to win some rather nice ARRC polo shirts courtesy Idemitsu. 2 questions this week in which we feature Dunlop Tyres. And if you weren't paying attention just now, you'll have heard in which year Dunlop Tyres were first involved with the ARRC. Simple question to start. What year was that? So what year did Dunlop Tyres first supply the rubber for the Asian Road Racing Championship? After the break, rubber hits the tarmac. We catch up with Philippines' TJ Alberto to find out how the Ducati rider has been keeping busy over the last 6 months. Welcome back to the Asian Motorsports Hour. All the rounds of the Philippine Superbike Championship, a local event, are held at the Clark International Speedway. It's track time for the likes of ARRC's TJ Alberto. Obviously no ARRC this season, but he does need valuable track time to get used to his machine and to improve as an athlete. Well, he's certainly performing well on that local event in the Philippines. 8 races so far, 7 wins and a 2nd place. There's 1 round still to go in December, but for now TJ is running away in a class apart from the rest of the field. So we thought it'd be a good idea to catch up with TJ Alberto and to find out about his season and his plans for the future.
I'm racing right now in the Philippine Superbike Championship this year, since obviously we don't have any Asia Championship races right now. So it's been keeping me busy. And the National Championship here in the Philippines is quite interesting. Due to COVID, they gave us a shortened calendar, yet I think it's more difficult than the regular calendar. For example, we only have 3 race weekends this year, but each race weekend you have 4 races. So that's a lot of racing for one weekend, maybe even too much. So the dynamic changes quite a lot. Let's say you get injured in a normal situation. If you get injured on, let's say, the first race, you'd miss the second race, and then next month, come the next race, you can come back. However, if you get injured or have a bike technical problem with 4 races in even one of them, you could be looking at a ruined race weekend. So I think consistency is key for the campaign this year. The last time I did the national championship was way back in 2017, where I was actually not yet. I was in the expert class, but I was in my second year racing ever in the road racing category. So I finished second in 2017. I missed out the championship by 1 point, but I think now with a lot of experience, it's been, I believe, 4 years since my last campaign here in the Philippine Championship. I came in this season much more prepared and much more relaxed. But of course, the competition is very strong this year with 2 former national champions, Dashi Watanabe and Marvin Mangulubnan, and also my brother Troy, who's of course also ARC rider and Asia Talent Cup rider. So there's very strong competition this year. But for me, I'm thinking that the pressure is not on my side. I've never been the Philippine champion before. And in the first race weekend, some of the guys had some technical issues, like Marvin had a few technical issues. And then, but I was able to come out with 3 wins and 1 second place, where it was a very exciting race. All 3 of us, me, Dashi, and Marvin, Troy wasn't there yet due to injury, were nose to tail basically for the whole 10 laps. And Marvin did a last lap move on the final corner on the inside of me.
Okay, sa final turn na tayo, guys. Hoy! Marvin takes... Woo!
To take the win with, I believe it was a 0.003 of a second margin. So, of course, you don't want to lose by 0.003 of a second. That's like nothing. So we did a lot of work in testing in between the races, and so far so good. We were able to have a really good race weekend last time out in October. We had set a lap record on Saturday, only to break it again on Sunday. So we had a really great weekend so far. I believe the largest margin of victory we had was 19 seconds to second place. So bike's working really good. I feel really confident right now on the bike. Team is working absolutely so good. So far, right now I'm very pleased, and I'm looking forward to, hopefully we can get back to the Asia calendar soon and reap the benefits of the things we've learned this season in the national championship. The next race of the season and the final one, where we'll have 4 races, and it will be quite interesting because we'll be scoring, there will be a 1.5 times multiplier for the points. So championship isn't closed yet. Despite having a pretty big lead of 37 points, anything can happen, as you know, in racing. So the plan is to stay fit, stay healthy, and just keep working on the way we've been doing it, and continue to improve. Of course, I'm sure the competition will bring their best come the race weekend. So with the race being in a month's time, I'm looking forward to get back testing, and I'm excited to see what can happen. So yeah, but for now we think of it race by race. 4 races with a 1.5 multiplier leaves a lot of points available on the table. So yeah, I'm looking forward to, I believe it's December 10-11 for the final race. 10, 11, 12. This year I'm racing with Marvin Mangulubnan and Dashi Watanabe, with Dashi currently in second place and Marvin in a close third. So Marvin is, I believe, already Philippine champion for 4 times, and I've raced with him in the past, and I know that he's a very fierce competitor. You never know what he'll bring on race day. So so far we've been having some good battles with Marvin. And Dashi also is very, very good level because he is also a Asia road racing rider, I believe, a few years ago on the 600 category. So he brings a lot of experience to the table, and they have a quite good team. So it's a very exciting championship. Yeah, so I'm really excited. First of all, I'm very disappointed that we don't have Asia road racing this year. I believe it could have been a great opportunity with the improvements the team has made. But anyway, I'm looking forward to 2022. So we remain focused and keep our eyes on the prize.
So all looking good for TJ Alberto. Great season for him so far. Now, do you remember the name April King Moscato? 4 years ago, the young Filipino was starring in the Suzuki Asian Challenge. He picked up second place in the season. It was all part of the ARRC calendar. Here he is winning in Johor by the proverbial country mile during that season. Well, he's still dominating races on the domestic front. In the PBSK Underbone Championship, he's won 7 of 8 races so far to lead that championship with 1 round still to race in December. Now more on the chance to win Asian Road Racing Championship polo shirts, courtesy Idemitsu. 2 questions this week in which we feature Dunlop Tyres. In the report we saw earlier, Dunlop started providing a full tyre service to ARRC teams. That includes supply and on-site fittings. But what year did that service start? It was in the report. You can scroll back. So what year did Dunlop become full suppliers and tyre service providers to the Asian Road Racing Championship? And a classic race with a connection to tyres after this break. Wet weather is a big challenge for tyre manufacturer and rider alike. And we look back on a wet race classic from Suzuka after this short break. We're talking tyres on this week's Asia Motorsports Hour, and amongst the biggest challenges to racers is to trust their tyres in the wet. Suzuka 2019 was a great example of the Dunlop tyres working perfectly, leaving the Underbone challengers to provide us with a wet race classic.
The red lights are on. They're holding them, but they're away. And once again, it is Kid Aziz who gets a good start, as does Mahendra on the left-hand side of the screen. It looks like it could be the number 570 machine that's going to shoot into the lead, into turn 1 here. They're all dipping in. There's a Dib Rosley in the back of the field too.
Yeah, I think that's Holden that went through. Terrible start for Pirapong Bimpang from the middle of the front row. He went backwards at the start.
Well, the thing is that some of these guys are really good in the wet and others struggle. And you can see that looks like that is a Dib Rosley right up there in 4th position at the moment. So he did get an absolute cracker of a start.
And he'll be looking for a good result because, of course, he didn't finish yesterday's race along with his teammate.
Yeah, so he's put himself into the perfect position at the moment. But
Across the river.
Yeah, there's that big river there. They hit that one pretty much upright, but there is one halfway around this Dunlop corner that they do need to be careful of. So the front runners are all up there at the moment. Agung Fakrul is another one that's up there, but we have got a faller early on.
One of the YY Pang machines. Jump ahead there by Adib Rosley.
Yeah, he's certainly Not too worried about the wet conditions here. You can just see a little bit of movement there for him, though. He's really pushing these wet weather tyres to the limit around this Suzuka circuit.
Yeah, always good to see him doing well. One of the real characters in this paddock. You're never quite sure which Adib Rosley's going to turn up, but we've got the best of him today in these wet conditions, that's for sure. Yeah,
absolutely. He's doing a fantastic job out front. Last time through, he did a 251.4. Oh, we've got a faller. That, not sure who that was, but that was one of the front runners. Oh, we've got two or three riders down.
Three bikes down.
Oh, no. We've got three riders down. One of them's getting ready. It looks like they're all moving. One of the machines there, can't quite see the number.
I'm not sure the rider's just got his leg caught under the bike.
Well,
hopefully he's all right.
Yeah, they'll attend to him. They'll be getting to him as soon as possible. But that certainly has split the group up, and it is Adib Rosley now out front with a very commanding lead in this one. But you can see how pear-shaped things can get, and it's a Kid Aziz. Yes, he's sitting up now, that rider. It's let's just see if we can see what happens. Oh, boom! The first S&D bike. I think it was an S&D bike.
Close to the front, and it looks like they might be closing up a little bit on Adib.
Absolutely. It's at where he needs to be. Good for the championship, this for Kid Aziz too. He said that he needed to get a good result. He's put himself in that position with Wawan Wello probably not picking up any points this time out. This is going to be good for him. He will be aiming for that 25 points, and Adib Rosley's been eaten up down that back straight. And it's a Kid Aziz now, but Kid Aziz breaks too early. But up the inside, it's Mahendra, who's braver than everybody. Do they think this is the last lap?
I'm going to say last lap rehearsal.
Yeah, well, Mahendra's definitely very strong and good on the drive out of that corner. This is the place of the racetrack where you're going to win or lose.
Yeah, well, that was a good rehearsal for the last lap. Let's see what Mahendra can do.
Well, he knows that he's strong on the brakes there, but perhaps everybody was toying with him. The RCB team there with everything crossed.
Adib having a poke back.
Look how nervous Mahendra's bike is there.
Again.
He certainly must have it set up very nimble, and you can see that by the way he takes those tighter lines. Seems to turn a little bit tighter with less lean angle, and the last thing you want in the wet is lean angle. So the team have probably worked hard to get that bike set up for these conditions. So with about 2 or 3 corners or 4 corners left to go of this race, Adib Rosley's saying to himself right now, well, here we go. Things are about to get serious, and they certainly are, because we've got 4 people on track going for the podium. That doesn't go. One of these guys is going to miss out. Adib Rosley with a wide line to get a good drive onto that back straight, takes the perfect line. Mahendra thinks I'm in the best position, but Fazli Sham is all on the gas nice and early. It looks like he's in the best spot to get the slipstream.
And let's remember we got the clever Akid Aziz in that group too.
Akid Aziz, you're right. He can't do it though, he hasn't come through yet, but it is Fazli Sham who leads into turn 15. But he hasn't got any room. It's going to come down to for Adib Rosley's missed out on that one. He's going to have to be deep on the brakes. Everybody will be waiting. Who will brake first? We head into the chicane. It is Fazli Sham. Mahendra takes the inside line. What a great ride by him. He gets through. He's on the gas. He's already waving that he's got the victory. But get tucked down. What a great ride by the number 570. Mahendra wins this one. And what a fantastic result for the Yamaha Racing Indonesia team. Takes victory from Adib Rosley.
What a brilliant ride by Mahendra. He was a rider that looked like he believed he could win right from the off. Adib Rosley did too, and he did well to come back to second.
How hot was the action, but how wet was the weather.
A reminder on how you can win some rather nice Asian Road Racing Championship polo shirts, courtesy Idemitsu. 2 questions this week featuring Dunlop Tyres. Go to the Asia Road Racing page on Facebook to post your answers. Earlier in the show, we reported that Dunlop Tyres were first involved with the ARRC in which year? So what year did Dunlop Tyres first supply the rubber for the Asian Road Racing Championship? Second question, Dunlop started providing a full tyre service to the ARRC that includes supply and on-site fittings. When? It was in the report in part 1, so you can scroll back So in what year did Dunlop become full suppliers and tyre service providers to the Asia Road Racing Championship? And we have some actual racing to showcase next week. Adam Noureddin and Azroy Hakim Anwar resume their rivalry in the Malaysia Superbike 600cc Championship. Let's hope this time that the rain stays away and that these two excellent racers can stay on their machines for the 3-race weekend. Bye for now.